This cookie is $300. This cookie is $300. This cookie is $300 fucking dollars. Let's get 'em! Welcome back, everyone, to We Have Spoken. And today we'll be talking about episode 4 of The Mandalorian, The Siege, in which we return back to Navarro and we meet a bunch of familiar faces. And I mean a lot of familiar faces, whether we like it or not. Before we start, I just want to say how grateful I am to this episode for introducing us to Admiral Blue Jeans. He has created the best memes on Facebook ever since Yoda ate that batch of eggs. It's been amazing. I look forward to his toy released by Disney. I look forward to his life-size half-action figure. And, you know, t-shirts and whatnot.
Matt from engineering, eat your heart out.
You watch his radar technician trying to scooch in there. Or Randy, the intern. It was one of them, I swear to it. Anywho, so I guess we'll get into the episode as a whole. Pretty much what I figured would happen did happen. They return to Navarro. They meet up with Geef and Kara. They get the Razor Crest all patched up and stuff. And of course, Mando is roped into yet another side quest.
Yeah, but the thing with this one is that he wasn't getting roped because it's like, oh, but I'm already in the middle of another one. No, you were just sitting there getting your ship repaired. So it's like, well, I guess I got nothing else better to do, so I guess I might as well do that, which...
I found a meme that was perfect to describe, Mando's, whole thing in a nutshell. It's like the scene from Shrek where he's like, quest? I'm already on a quest! That's pretty much Mando's whole deal at this point. And here's the thing, I get that he owed them a favor for taking care of his ship. I get they're his friends and whatnot. But when they mentioned that they were going to go infiltrate an Empire base, you think that would have brought up a little more red flags for him? He would have fought against that more? Because he is on the run from the Empire, or what's left of it anyway. You would think that they would, even if nobody was there, they'd have some sort of surveillance or tripwires or something that would let them know he had been there.
But this is a base that's, because remember, they basically wiped out a whole bunch of stormtroopers last time around. So there's this was under the impression that there was hardly anybody there, at the time that that he accepted the mission. And then when they got there, they're just like, oh wait, this ain't a base. This is some kind of lab. It's a secret lab because it is.
Alright, I get it because, it was a whole secret lab, so obviously they didn't know it was there, but it's like, he should have figured that somebody would have been, had some sort of surveillance on Navarro, given that that's where all the trouble started with the child. That's where the big showdown was with the Empire. It would have stand to reason they would assume Mando would return at some point, which he did. So I'm surprised he wasn't more cautious about that.
But even if he hadn't gone on that side mission, there was already a spy that was working on his ship.
Yes.
And reported back to Gideon.
Of course there was.
So...
And now they are being tracked, so yes. It was a total mistake to go to Navarro. It's like, yeah, the ship's all patched up now, and they managed to destroy that base, but at what cost?
This won't have any consequences whatsoever.
Bleh. I do like how they spiffied up the town, though.
Yes.
They really kicked it into shape.
They gentrified.
They have a school now. They have an education system.
Now we're going to see condos, we're going to see timeshares, and we're going to see one of those outdoor yoga places.
Wine bars.
Yeah. You watch, it'll happen. But I'm glad, though, they cleaned it up and everything. They even had a statue of IG-11 there to honor him. I'm like, aw, that's sweet. And apparently that guy's back. What was his name?
I forgot what his name was. I know he's
They called him the
Horatio
Mithril
Sands.
or something? Or Mithril? I can't pronounce it. Apologies. They didn't say his name that often, but yeah, like you said, he's played by Horatio Sands, so I'm just gonna call him Horatio Sands.
He's basically Mando's first bounty that we see from the pilot episode. So it's like, oh, he's alive, apparently. Then again, yeah, he was encased in carbonite, but we didn't know if he was, like...
Yeah. Apparently his crime wasn't that bad. He just embezzled from grief, so... Yeah, like, that is, like, skeezy, but at the same time, I don't think it warrants carbonite, but maybe that's just me. I kind of felt bad for him this whole episode, because it's like... Every time they were in a dangerous situation, they're like, you, go do it. And he's like, oh, but I don't want to do it.
Give you years off your sentence if you do this.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, he ended up with less time than he would have, but still.
And then he winds up losing his speeder, but hopefully he gained the tank thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine that was an upgrade, but...
Once again, like in this episode, we get another like big like action sequence here. Like they're raiding it. They're raiding an Imperial base, and then they make this big escape, and then we see like TIE fighters, coming in. That's the one thing I always like with the new Star Wars is like, because like, and I guess it kind of makes sense given the time period that this takes place. Because in the prequels, you have like most of the battles take place on the planet. The big battles take place on the planet. In the original trilogy, it was a lot of like the big fights were like the dog fights in space. And here it's like a mix of the two. Here it's like a mix of the two, where they actually use like the TIE fighters for like ground, for like surface attacks, like something that you don't see in the previous stuff. And I always thought that's kind of interesting. It's like, oh, TIE fighters are shooting down at the ground. Like you don't see that in the other eras. You just don't.
But then again, TIE fighters are crap.
Yeah, they kind of are.
I don't get that design. It seems wholly ineffective, but that's for another time.
Yes.
I do like how the whole thing basically was a reenactment at the end of A New Hope.
They've been doing a lot of trench runs lately this season.
Like, even with Mando coming in last minute to, like, shoot down the TIE fighters. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna show up. He's gonna show up. There he is. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed it, but I'm like, yeah, I can call this beat for beat at this point. And I gotta say, like, what they discovered, like, that was pretty shocking. Like, I guess maybe not so much, but it's nice that we have an explanation now as to why they need the child, aside from his, obvious force powers and the fact that he comes from a race that nobody knows of, apparently. But now we see that, they're doing clone shit here.
Well,
like, again.
Once again,
but like,
it's like
superior clones.
Yeah, but it's like it's leftover technology from Kamino, and it kind of leads into how Snoke was created. Because they mention in Rise of Skywalker that he's like this weird genetic. But so basically, what we see here is like the early infancy. Like they've been working on trying to develop. Well, not so much trying to clone the Emperor, because that's
what I was worried about when
No.
they mentioned, like, the whole, like, they need someone with an M count.
Don't say that word.
I didn't say it. I said
don't
M
say the
count.
word.
I'm not saying it.
They didn't even say.
I know, they knew better.
They know.
They know better.
They knew how much they would piss people off if they
Yes.
said that
I know,
word.
If we keep it vague enough, they can't be mad at us.
I know. They even said M count, so it's like.
But the point is, when they said that, I'm like, oh, fuck. Is this where they're going to start the clone of Palpatine bullshit? Like,
if this was the old expanded universe, yes, but no, because in Rise of Skywalker, it's we find out that Snoke is kind of like a weird sort of like clone puppet kind of thing.
He's a clone of Palpatine,
yes. just like a weakened version of it.
Yeah, and even according to Abrams, apparently the Palpatine we see is a clone, which I call bullshit on, but I don't. But then again, it's expected given how there was like 1 million clones of Palpatine in the books, so. Whatever.
Yeah.
No one's ever really gone.
Exactly.
I do like they show that it's not. It's specifically more for that they're trying to create a superior soldier, because we see later on at the end the was it the Dark
Troopers?
Yeah, and you said those were from a video game, right?
Dark Troopers, I believe, are from they're from Star Wars Dark Forces, which is also part of what is known as the Star Wars Jedi Knight series, which could potentially feature a popular character that has yet to be reintroduced, Kyle Katarn, who starts off as a smuggler who finds out he's actually a Jedi, and then he becomes a smuggler again. So he's like a smuggler/Jedi, who is actually one of the more popular characters from the old expanded universe, who has yet to be reintroduced. So
there's a mix of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And had there's 5 or 6 games that featuring that. So it's actually pretty awesome. I really need to play through all those, but
Okay.
But I know that that's where Dark Troopers originally came from, and they're reincorporating it here for the Mandalorian.
So we're basically going to have super stormtroopers that have force powers then. Because that's what it sounds like they're doing.
Possibly.
Because why the hell else would they need someone with an N count?
Exactly.
Then again, they need it, because given what we've seen of these stormtroopers, especially in this episode, dear God, like, I know people make fun of stormtroopers all the time for missing, like, very obvious targets, but the way they were in the race here, like, I'm like, how do you guys walk without killing yourselves? Like, the whole part where, like, they were in the bikes, and they drive them off the fucking cliff, and they fucking crash on the way down.
Like, they lose, like, there's, like 8 guys, and then 2 or 3 of them just crash, and then, like, they still, like, well, at least we still got 5 more of us, so let's go after these guys. The show always, I feel like this show sometimes, like, will always take the opportunity to try to poke fun at the Stormtroopers, whether it was last season with them, like, shooting the guns, like, why do I keep missing? to them just riding off the bikes, because, like, well, if they can ride the tank off, then maybe we can ride this off. Whee! But it looked like it was working, though. That's the thing. It looked like it was working, and then, like, 2 or 3 just, like, they just die. It's like...
Don't you remember Scout Troopers on speeders back in Return of the Jedi? And how they crashed?
They were on ground. They just had to avoid trees.
But that's the thing, at least there it made sense, because they were surrounded by thickly dense trees, so all they had to do was take their eyes off the road for like a second, and they'd go right into a tree.
And they did.
Yeah, which they did, but that was understandable. Here, they knowingly rode their land bikes off a fucking cliff and right into a rock.
Right into the jagged rocks below.
I'm like, does your eye holes even work in there? Like, do you have any sense of peripheral vision, any sense of depth perception with the thing on? Like,
I guess
Jesus.
First Order technology hasn't come in yet.
I guess not.
Or they didn't recruit the
brightest bunch.
Yeah, apparently not.
Oh, can we also bring up how they mention the why are there no guardrails?
Yes, when Horatio Sands' character is like there's no guardrails. He's trying to get around the thing, which kind of resembles the was
it the core?
The tractor. But it kind of looks like the tractor beam from the A New Hope, where Obi-Wan, because that's what it's kind of shaped like. I guess that's kind of an homage to that. But then he's like, I need you to go over there and turn it off. He's like, there's no guardrails.
That just reminds me of the Family Guy
I was gonna
Star
say
Wars
that.
parody, where it's like, what? So why would they give us a railing? He's like, oh, they're afraid we'll lean on it. I just think they're being cheap asses. Like, given the inferior weaponry, the obstructive armor, the fact that, like, their clones obviously don't know what the fuck they're doing, they definitely cut corners.
Is it any wonder why there was a hole the size of a womp rat that could be shot through on the Death Star? And I know we explained that in Rogue One, but still.
Yeah.
Oh, my giant super weapon blown up by a bunch of teenagers. Oh, great.
Clearly there is not a lot of, overseeing of these buildings.
No.
Yeah, really.
And it's like, and yet we still have these remnants just clinging on, trying to come back. And I know they have plans and stuff, but I'm like, if you keep using the technology you're using, you're not going to get far.
But at some point they do get better technology, because when we get to Force Awakens, then all of a sudden, like, the Stormtroopers are like, holy crap, they can actually hit something.
Yeah, well, First Order is basically the Empire with a budget.
Yes.
Given how they build...
Unlimited budget!
Given how they build Starkiller Base, which is 10 times the size of the
they hollowed out a freaking planet.
Exactly. You need big moolah to do that shit.
I will say, and I think, so I've been playing Jedi Fallen Order, and I feel like there's probably a reason why the Empire's so ineffective as it is. It's like, I feel like in the early days, as they show, like, they have, like, the game takes place like 4 years after the Order 66, and they have, like, these troops that are actually designed to fight, the Jedi. Like, you have scout troopers who actually have, the equipment to actually fight off a Jedi. So I'm like, they were probably, once they figured that they had killed off all the Jedi, they just got, lazy and complacent and didn't think that, we need to be on our guard anymore. And they probably just axed all that equipment so they wouldn't have to pay for it anymore. I mean, obviously, joke's on them, but yeah, I think that was the intent.
That's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts you guys had on this episode?
Can we mention when Baby Yoda goes to school?
Oh my god, that was adorable.
We have to have our obligatory mandate for Baby Yoda.
Well, I want to say at the beginning, I thought it was adorable where he and Mando were having lunch together, just drinking their soup, and he starts imitating the way he drinks it. I'm like, aw, he's imitating his daddy. That was cute. And then, of course, we get to the scene with the school, and I'm like, oh my god, they put the baby in school! And it's like, I love when the kids were like looking at him, and they're like, Judge. Oh, it's the cute one. The one who gets paid more than all of us, even though he's a puppet. But, yeah, that was cute. And then, of course, the scene with the cookies.
Yeah, he sees a kid eating a macaron, and
once again, Baby Yoda takes
or whatever
what he
they're
wants.
called in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the macaroons for a second?
Yes!
Oh my god. Now, this has nothing to do with the show itself. It's a byproduct of what happened after this episode happened. But by all
Yes.
means.
So apparently, William Sonoma teamed up with Star Wars to market these macaroons. They're like freaking macaroons, blue food coloring on them, with a pack of 12 for $50.
I would like to point out that coming from someone who's married to someone who likes to eat this sort of stuff, that is way overpriced.
$50 for 12 cookies. That's roughly $4 per cookies. I could buy a whole box of Girl Scout cookies for the price of one macaroon. That is bullshit. That is capitalism at its peak.
And I mean, I know it's William Sonoma and they're known for egregiously high prices on their stuff, but this is ridiculous. You have to take out a payment plan on
That thing, though, unless it is coated in solid gold and has the power to cure cancer, no cookie is worth that much. Especially a macaroon. I'm sorry. Not to bash macaroons. I think they're fine, but I would not pay that much for only 12 macaroons. Not even a single macaroon.
You could get a non-Star Wars licensed macaroon at your grocery store for a fraction of the price.
You can get 50. You can get 50 of those for the same price that they're charging.
And plus,
they usually go for $1 for $1 per macaron.
I can get them cheaper at 7-Eleven for crying out loud. But no, on top of that, you don't even know if they're good or not. Heck, he threw it up at the end. For all we knew, they could be like those things where you can't help but eat them because they're so addictive, and then finally at the end, stomach ache.
Although, well, to be fair, he was flying around in rough conditions, so
He did do that hard turn.
Yeah.
That was cute. He was on a roller coaster. Like, yay, I'm gonna be sick! That was so cute. And then Mando wiped him up and everything. Yeah, it was a good episode overall, I thought. As I said, I liked the action sequences. I liked we found out the overall plan that the Empire has for the child, what they plan to do and everything. It just sucks that once again one of Mando's side quests is now putting him in the line of danger. As if he wasn't enough already. Now, they're being tracked, and I suppose that's going to lead us to our next episode, right?
I believe so. 'Cause from what I've heard, the next episode, I've heard rumors that the next episode is going to have, we're finally going to see Ahsoka Tano once again, but this time in live action.
Mm-hmm.
So
Played by Rosario Dawson.
Yes. It is rumored.
I love her.
Yeah, that's what they're predicting that the next episode is going to be. So we're actually going to see.
What was it called? The Jedi?
The Jedi.
Yeah, so I guess it's
I
pretty
didn't
much a
even see
given.
it. I saw a TBA for whatever.
I peeked at the list before they changed it, and it said the Jedi. It probably is going to change because you know how Disney Plus is, and they want to keep this shit under wraps. But I'm just going to assume that's what it is for now until proven otherwise.
But if it's not, we'll still talk about it anyway.
I'll change the title in post. It'll be
Yeah.
fine. So any final thoughts? Any predictions and stuff?
Don't buy the cookies.
You can find somebody else that will do the exact same thing for a lot cheaper.
Get blue food coloring and a white macaroon and just...
Get better cookies!
Yeah.
For Christ's sake, Chips Ahoy, man. Oreos. Anything's better. Just save your money. Crying out loud. So, with that being said, we'll see you all next time. Hopefully when we finally meet a Jedi, and hopefully Mando will finally get himself learned on all this. Because honestly, it's kind of embarrassing that he doesn't know all this stuff. But, anywho, till next time, I'm Kat MacBerrie.
I'm Eric Stoller.
I'm Doug MacBerrie.
And we have spoken.